I keep thinking about that cemetery and the cold, biting wind that must have been blowing through the ancient headstones when Maxie Jones first laid her eyes on a ghost who had somehow miraculously crawled out of the damp earth and decided to wear the handsome, familiar face of Nathan West. Maxie admitted it herself, in a moment of rare, unguarded honesty, that something felt completely, entirely wrong in the very pit of her stomach. When they reunited among the dead, where he was supposed to be resting permanently and peacefully, she felt the wrongness vibrating off his skin like a bad radio frequency that only a woman who truly deeply loved a man could pick up on, but then she just brushed it off like it was nothing. Blamed it on the secrets he was supposedly keeping about his sudden electric and completely inappropriate new romance with her best friend Lulu. Spencer? It is so much easier for the human brain to believe that a man is just a cheating liar than to accept the terrifying, soul-crushing reality that he might not actually be the man at all. Dead wrong. She was dead wrong to dismiss that gut feeling because the universe screams at us when the natural pattern is broken and Nathan's pattern is shattered into a million unrecognizable jagged pieces that don't fit together anymore. Think about the missing 7 years that stretch out like a massive black hole, swallowing every single piece of logic and reason we have left in this godforsaken drama-filled town. 7 years is an absolute eternity to spend in the dark, and yet he just waltzes back into Port Charles with a charming smile and a steady heartbeat and a story that doesn't quite add up when you shine a bright, unforgiving light on it. What exactly happened to him during those thousands of days and cold, lonely nights when he was supposedly gone from this world and turning to dust in a wooden box? People don't just vanish into the ether and return without carrying the heavy stench of wherever they've been. And this version of Nathan smells like dark secrets and WSB gunpowder and something distinctly, chillingly artificial. We are supposed to just blindly believe it's a miracle of epic proportions. Miracles don't exist here in the real world. Only machinations. Only sick, twisted plots hatched in dark, smoke-filled rooms by men with way too much power and far too little humanity in their black hearts. And then there is the absolute farcical joke of the DNA and fingerprint confirmation which everyone at the PCPD and the hospital just swallowed. Whole like it was gospel truth handed down directly from on high. How incredibly naive do you have to be to think that in a corrupt world where a man like Ross Cullum operates, where the entire WSB is riddled with dangerous traitors like a piece of rotting termite-infested wood, that a simple laboratory test can't be easily fabricated by a guy with a fat wallet? Ross Cullum could fake the fingerprint of God himself if he really wanted to, and making absolutely sure there was no physical body to find when Nathan's grave was finally exhumed is exactly the kind of neat, tidy, psychopathic housekeeping he excels at on a daily basis. They opened the earth and expected closure, but they found nothing. Nothing but dirt and worms and a mountain of lies. If the body is gone and the DNA is faked in a sterile lab somewhere, then who the hell is sitting in Kelly's diner drinking black coffee and kissing Lulu Spencer? An imposter. A beautifully crafted, meticulously programmed, living, breathing imposter wearing Nathan West's life like a stolen, tailored suit. I cannot get the blizzard out of my head, because that was the exact terrifying moment the mask slipped just a fraction of an inch, but it was. Enough to see the cold, calculated monster underneath the handsome facade. Lulu and Nathan trapped together in the snow and the freezing cold, and he completely blunders a deeply personal story about his dad that made absolutely zero sense to anyone who actually knows Nathan's complicated family history. He stumbled over his own fake implanted memories. He had to violently scramble to cover up the glaring error, and Lulu, being so completely blinded by the sudden dizzying rush of unexpected romantic feelings, just let it slide right past her usually flawless investigative radar. She's a brilliant journalist, for crying out loud, but love makes you stupid, and it makes you willfully blind to the massive red flags that are waving violently right in front of your face in a hurricane. He didn't know the story, because it isn't his story to tell. Then he drops that cryptic, terrifying line about wanting to be the man that Lulu saw him as, which sounds incredibly romantic if you are living in a fictional fairy tale, but sounds exactly like a desperate confession if you are actually paying close attention to the words. He wants to be that man because he isn't that man, and he knows he isn't that man. He is a blank slate or a violently rewritten human hard drive trying desperately to run the Nathan West software without crashing the whole system. Are we dealing with illegal memory mapping here? Chemical brainwashing? Did they take some poor nameless soul off the street and scramble his fragile neurons until he actually believed he was a dead heroic cop? Or did they take a willing, highly trained operative and implant just enough personal data to make him pass the initial test? The wild psychological mind games being played here are staggering and horrifying and completely violate the basic sanctity of human identity. It makes my skin crawl, just thinking about the needle going into the brain. The brutal erasing of a human soul. Look at the anger, because the anger never ever lies to you, even when the mouth does. Nathan West was a fundamentally good man, a steady, reliable man, a man who could handle the intense pressure of the badge, but this new version of Nathan had a major explosive, terrifying outburst with Liesel Obrecht that showed a pitch-black darkness that the real Nathan never ever possessed. In his entire life, Liesel knows. A mother always knows the true soul of her child, and she pushed a button, and out came a roaring monster vibrating with a rage that was entirely foreign to the gentle man we all remember mourning. How easily that violent anger came out of him. Like it was sitting right there just beneath the thin surface of his skin waiting for any tiny excuse to strike out and destroy. That isn't Nathan. That is a lethal weapon disguised as a man. A weapon with a very, very short fuse. This brings us to the absolute heartbreaking tragedy of Lulu Spencer, who is currently sitting right in the blast radius of this ticking human. Time bomb, with her notebook and her pen and her insatiable burning need for the absolute truth. Lulu is an investigative journalist to the very core of her being. She has black ink in her veins and a sharp nose for news and a relentless passion for following the story wherever it takes her, even if it takes her straight into the fiery jaws of hell itself. She is literally dating the story. She is sleeping in the same bed with the story. And sooner or later, the thick romantic haze is going to finally lift, and that sharp Spencer brain is going to start seeing the glaring inconsistencies and the clumsy lies and the terrifying gaping holes in his logic. She will pull a loose thread. She always pulls the thread. And when she does, the whole ugly sweater is going to unravel, and she is going to find herself staring at a total stranger. What happens when she starts actively investigating him? Because you know with absolute certainty that she will. She will start digging relentlessly into the missing 7 years and the suspiciously empty exhumed grave and the miraculously perfect faked DNA, because she physically won't be able to stop herself from seeking the truth. It's a compulsion for her. The truth is a highly addictive drug, and Lulu is a helpless addict. But this isn't some corrupt local mayor or a bumbling mob boss she is dealing with this time around. This is a highly trained, incredibly dangerous shadowy entity who might be deeply embedded in something so massive and corrupt it could crush Port Charles into dust. If she finds hard proof that he is an imposter, what will he do to her in the dark? Will the explosive anger we saw directed at Liesel be turned violently on Lulu? Will he permanently silence her to protect the mission? The danger is so thick and palpable I can barely breathe just thinking about it. Let's talk about the terrifying specter of Jen Sidwell, because all dark, twisted roads in this cursed town seem to lead straight back to his massive doorstep and his endless sticky web of corruption. There have been subtle hints and quiet whispers in the dark alleys that Nathan might actually be one of Sidwell's secret police informants. A dirty mole planted inside the PCPD, feeding sensitive case information to a ruthless man who hosts deadly high-stakes dinner parties, controls human beings like they are carved wooden chess pieces. If this fake Nathan is an imposter planted by Ross Cullum and actively working for Sidwell, then he is arguably the most dangerous man currently walking the streets of the city. He has full access to the confidential police files. He has intimate access to the powerful Spencer family. He is a beautiful, smiling Trojan horse, and everyone is just standing around admiring the craftsmanship while the lethal soldiers wait patiently inside to slaughter them all in their sleep. Lulu might actually figure this all out on her own. She might uncover the devastating revelation that her passionate new lover is a dirty rat for Sidwell and a disposable pawn for Cullum's mysterious overarching WSB project. And if she learns too much, if she gets her hands on the physical proof, the encrypted documents, the real medical DNA, the hidden communication, logs between this fake Nathan and his dark handlers, her life won't be worth a single shiny dime. They will kill her without a second thought. They will make it look like a tragic car accident, or a sudden suicide, or maybe she will just quietly vanish into the exact same black hole that swallowed the real Nathan 7 long years ago. The stakes are literally life and death right now, and she is completely oblivious buying him coffee at Kelly's and holding his hand in the park. Wake up, Lulu. Please, for the love of God, wake up. Maxie is already on the warpath right now, beating Lulu and Nathan to Dante's precinct office to spill the beans about their secret budding. Romance. Maxie genuinely thinks the romance is the actual problem here. She thinks she is protecting Dante's fragile feelings or defending her own complicated emotional territory because she ultimately chose Damien, Spinelli, but still feels fiercely possessive of Nathan's lingering ghost. It's almost laughable how incredibly petty the romantic drama seems when you zoom out and look at the terrifying, life-threatening reality of the broader situation. Maxie is worried about broken hearts when she should be deeply worried about broken necks. Dante is obviously going to be aggravated about the romance, but what on earth is he going to do when he realizes his former best friend is a programmed sleeper agent? Will Dante's sharp cop instincts finally kick in? Will he see the danger that Lulu is completely blind to? Time is running out fast. The psychological torture of this whole twisted scenario is just utterly beyond human comprehension. Imagine being Lulu for just 1 second. You finally open your battered heart after years of agonizing pain and a coma and devastating loss, and you freely give it to a man who is a walking, talking lie. When the ugly truth finally comes out, it won't just break her heart, it will completely shatter her entire perception of reality. How do you ever trust another human being again when the man holding you in his warm arms is a surgically altered, mind-wiped operative sent specifically to infiltrate your life? It is a violation of the absolute highest order. It is profound emotional rape. And Ross Cullum and Jen Sidwell are just sitting back in the shadows watching it all happen like it's an entertaining television show. Sick. Absolutely profoundly sick. I keep vividly picturing the inevitable moment of discovery in my head. The dark, quiet room. The harsh glowing light of the computer screen illuminating her face. Lulu finding the decrypted files or the real hidden medical records. The sudden terrifying sound of a heavy footstep right behind her. The slow, agonizing turn of her head. The horrifying realization hitting her like a speeding freight train as she looks deep into the eyes of the man she thought she loved and sees absolutely nothing but cold, dead mechanical calculation staring back at her. That is the exact danger the spoilers are hinting at so heavily. That is the serious, life-threatening danger she is going to land in sooner or later. He will take violent action against her. He won't hesitate for a microsecond because whatever is currently operating inside his head isn't human anymore. It's cold programming. And programming doesn't feel pity or love.